Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to our teaching series today. We're going to cover a couple things. We talked about the tax season and the basics of getting started with savings. And then we talked about 401ks. And then we talked about if you're already past all that and you want to mitigate the taxation coming, what to do with that yesterday. So today I'm just kind of doing these series. I don't have a plan. We're just going to cover what we cover freestyle. And I think that these are the things that I see people don't know, understand, or get, and this keeps them from saving or getting good compounding rates or knowing when there's a problem. If you don't know your house is on fire, you're gonna burn up and die. So I wanna tell you right now, there's a fire and it's in the house of our inflation rate. So let's start with that. What's true inflation? They have been telling us that the inflation rate, and that we shouldn't even have inflation unless you have a false entity called the Federal Reserve that's not federal, not part of our government, nor is there any reserve, printing money, loaning it to our government, which has the right to create their own money and never borrow it from anybody else. But we got suckered in 1913, and it's been going on a long time. So you should go read the pause button, go read The Creature from Jekyll Island by Edward Griffin. This is like reading a book. If you ever come across a word you do not understand, to continue reading sacrifices your integrity. So to have full integrity, you need to go watch the video on YouTube, The Creature from Jekyll Island, like South Carolina, Jekyll, Jekyll. Go read that book. Talks about how the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds created the Federal Reserve, got a stranglehold on America's people, the Congress, and then some complicit people let it slip through, and ever since they've been printing money. So this is why we have inflation. All right, sorry, you got to know that. So true inflation is what we're gonna tick this box here. Let's cover this one. Inflation is reported to be 3%. So that means if you have $100,000 every year, then inflation goes up. If you're not making, you have to make the same 3% just to keep it equal, right? Just to keep your 100,000 of buying power to still be able to buy 100,000 of stuff next year, or have 100,000 of peace of mind. You still need to be able to make 3% every year. I'm sure you already knew that, most of you, but if you didn't, that's how it works, okay? So inflation's 3%, you need to make 3%, but sadly, I'm seeing most of these, a lot of seniors that I talk to, because there's not a lot of people that have 100,000 just sitting in a CD at the bank making 0.50%, maybe 1% if they sign up to lock that money up for 5 years, which is insane. I'll happily do that for you. So look, $100,000, you're losing 3% every year. So let's just look at 10 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's do this. Let's see, 100,000 times 1.03. So your money would need to grow to, you need to make 3%. So your money would need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You would need your money to grow over this time. We'll hit the equal button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So at the end of 10 years, you need $134,391. Okay? And if you're getting a CD rate of, well, I guess you're always going to get 1.05. This is, no. If you're getting 0.5% at the bank, let's just give you 1%, but most people aren't getting that. Well, let's just say you're getting 1%. So basically 100,000 with inflation at 3%, to have the same buying power of 100,000, at the end of 10 years, you need 134. Now you're going to have, let's do 100,000 at 1%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You only have 110,462. Okay? So your loss here, roughly, you can see that you lost 24,000. So economically, you're being robbed by inflation. Let's just do this. Ha ha ha. And this guy is holding you at gunpoint because you don't know any better. Or if you know any better, you're not taking the right actions. So inflation of 3%, this is bad enough. This is bad enough. You're getting robbed blind. You're losing 24,000 a decade. Over 10 years, obviously, we know that is, 240,000 years over, well, that's 100 years. You're not going to live that long. But still, you're losing 24 grand, okay? So there's your story on that. Now, sadly, that's not the truth. Here's the truth. True inflation is actually 8 to 9%. They're not reporting food in this. They're not reporting gasoline in this, which is falsely held up. True inflation is 8 to 9%. So really, what do I need to make so that my buying power isn't diminished? You need to make let's just call it 9%. If you're not making 9%, your money's shrinking, as we just saw. So let's do this example. Now that we know how to do it, you can do it yourself. Let's see. So what do we have? $100,000 times 1.09. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Okay, so 236,736. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 236,736. Your 100,000 needs to grow to 236,000 over 10 years just to maintain your buying power. Okay, so if you're making 1%, oh man, what was the number on that? It was like 110,000. Obviously, there's a problem, right? So let's see here, just for math integrity. 1.01 if you're getting 1% at the bank. So how you do this, of course, 100,000 times 1.01, and then every year you're gonna hit the equal button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Yeah, 110,462. Okay, so basically, if your 10 years gets you to 110,462 versus 236, you're losing $226,000. That's every decade. This is every 10 years. Okay, so if you had $100,000 10 years ago, and you're making 1% in a CD, I see this at least once a month, sometimes more often. When this is truly inflation, they're literally robbing you blind of your buying power by printing more money and then using it for military wars and space explorations, because none of the money for taxes does anything but pay the interest on the national debt to the bankers. They created the Federal Reserve that's not federal, it has no reserve, that's not part of our country. So you gotta get 9%. You with me? Okay, so that's a hard lesson, I know, okay? But at least you know. All right, so now you know what true inflation is. We talked about your savings growth. What's your growth rate? This person's getting 1%. Okay, well, you're like, oh, well, no, I'm in the stock market and I'm going full aggressive and it's been great in the last 10 years. Well, it hasn't been great. The stock market really isn't working. Technical analysis is not really happening. Basically, the government's printing money, buying their own bonds, and faking the market out. and making it look like everything's just happy-go-lucky. But it's gonna crash like a house of cards in 2008. The mortgage backed securities industry crashed. It's gonna happen again. So right now the question is how much of your at the top of this bubble, because the market has gone like this. Maybe I'll put one in the bottom right. Market's gone straight up, and what goes up exactly must come down. All right, so we did the true inflation. True inflation's 9%. You're getting 100%. Okay, you want to talk about? Oh well, I'm doing okay. My mutual fund. I'm getting. You know, I'm averaging I'm averaging 7%. Okay, that's great. Let's do 7. Let's do 7. All right, so 100 times 1.07. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 196,715. So you've got 196,715. That's not 236. It's just not. So, call that 200. You're short 36,000. Well, that's almost exactly the same. So 36 plus 4. So you're still down $40,000, right? So big negative. So you just lost $40,000 this decade, and you thought you were doing great and 7%. So that's inflation. Okay. Now I can put you in volatility. Protection chassis. Let's just call them stock market accessed but protected accounts. So it can only go up, it can never go down, basically. Kind of a volatility incubator where, well, not incubator, you're not going to have any volatility. Either your money goes up or you get a goose egg. That's sort of the solution. Or you can buy gold. So here's the inflation problem. And then how do we solve it? The only way to solve it is to buy gold. Okay? I mean, that's horrible. But basically, since the Egyptians, kicked the Israelites out, if you go to Sunday school, basically when the Israelites left Egypt, they took gold and silver with them to start their new life. So gold holds value. Okay? Only gold. Now you can get silver, you can get palladium, but the popular one is gold. Ask every central bank in the United States, all over the world. All central banks are the ones hoarding the gold. If you look at the largest purchase of gold, it is United States of America. But then I think you got, China comes in second? And then you got London. But these banks are Britain. So these banks know where true value is. Gold is the only real currency that exists, gold and silver. And what did they give Jesus? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold was currency. Frankincense, I think, was the only thing. It has the highest frequency of any oil, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier for healing. And then I forget what myrrh does. But when they gave the king of all kings a gift, what did the wise men give them? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So we should probably have some gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Or we should have true currency, healing ointments, and whatever myrrh does. Okay, so holding gold is the value. So that's why I started getting relationships to get you access to gold. So, this is the problem and then the solution. So if you've got, let's say you've got, let's erase this. Okay, so, let's talk about your net worth. Okay, so, you've done a great job. This is for people that have actually saved some money. You've done a great job, and you've got, let's say you've got an IRA, and you've got $5 million in there. You've got some houses. You've got rental. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you've got a brokerage account, and that's got 2.5 million in it. So, I don't know what these are worth. Let's just say all of your houses, all this stuff adds up to another 5 million. So you got 2.5. Your net worth is 12.5 million. And now they're going to print a bunch of money. Now they're not going to really affect the value of the houses because the houses should go up with inflation. So this, excuse me, probably protected. Bubbles do pop, and people always need a place to live. So, I know a lot of people that are all about only real estate. I think real estate's great. It's wise. It goes up in value and appreciates while you write off the depreciation. You got cash flow and, expenses. So that makes sense for sure. And then your house, everybody needs a place to live. So you're not going to get rid of your house, but your IRA and your brokerage account. Okay. We might need to take a look at that, because how much of your, let's say, what is it, 7.5 million? How much of your 7.5 million do you still want to be able to buy tomorrow what 7.5 million buys today? So as you can see, if we take, so I guess we would have to come down to what rate of return are you making on this? So rentals, we're just going to leave that alone. You might want to cash out, liquidate, and get some gold. Nobody thinks the bubble's going to pop, so all my realtor friends don't. So, we're in Columbus. It's an anomaly. Everyone's moving here. But, I read the property guys, the flippers, they're waiting for the bubble to pop. I have a buddy with like 90 properties. He says, I can't wait. I'm just going to scoop them up. So if you can sell your house now at the top of the market and get a lot of cash, and you still have one place to live, if you have multiple properties, you might want to consider thinking about selling one or two to liquidate them, get some gold. Why? Because gold's going to hold value. So, we've got 7.5 million. Where's my grain? So what is this? 2021. And you have 7.5 mil. Now we're going to look out 10 years. And let's go out to 2031. All right, so your 7.5 million, how much buying power are you going to have in 10 years? If true inflation equals 9%. It's easy. Let's just do the math. We've done it before. You probably beat me to it because you don't have a small ledge. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's see what we got here. 7.5 million. You're making, let's see, at 9%. It has to, so if we want to go out 10 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What are you making? Let's say you're making an average of 7% in your portfolio. So 7.5 times 1.07. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we're at 14 million. Oh my gosh, sorry. What do we do? So 7.5 times 1.1. Oh my gosh. 7.5 times 1.1. Man, this is a broken count. This is my last phone, as you can see. So times 1.07. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, 14,753,000. Okay, so you'll be up to 7,753,635. Sounds like a lot of money. Hopefully, are you in an IRA growing tax deferred, or did you already pay the taxes and you're in a Roth converted IRA and you're growing tax deferred and you'll pull it out tax free? That's in the last video. We can cover that in detail for you. So you're at 14.7 and you think that's great, but really you're 7.5 million in 2021 buying power. 10 years later, it should be up to, if we made 9%, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, how much should that be? 7.5 times 1.09, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 17,755,000. 227 and 60 cents. Because you're OCD if you have that much money. I appreciate you. Okay, so you're basically missing 3,002,000 and some change. So $17,755, 227, 60 cents minus 14,753, 635, 3 million. So you just lost $3 million, 3,001,592 and 60 cents. And nobody's going to talk about it. Nobody's complaining. Nobody knows except for you if you're doing this math. So this is how inflation robs you over time. Now, I got a lot of clients that have all their money based in US dollars. I've done the most conservative guaranteed lifetime pension payouts, income riders, bonuses, compounding 7%. Guarantees their deposit of $2.5 million is going to double over 10 years with the Rule 72 at 7% to $5 million, from which they can take a lifetime payout. It's the most conservative, best thing you can do in retirement, right? With an A+ rated carrier. I've done the best thing I can do for the last decade, doing trust reviews for clients in their homes. Most of these people don't even have an AOL account. They just stay home, watch the cowboy shows in the news, and this is happening to them. So, I'm concerned. How do I fix this problem? So I've been dealing with this problem for like a year, and then 2 years ago, and I was like, all right, I have to get them gold. I have to get these people gold. So this is the video where I'm letting you know you'll be getting a call from me if you saw this, if you're on my client list. If you're not, you have to call me to get some gold. So the only way to maintain this 7.5 million is to stack up some physical gold that you actually have possession of. You can't just buy an ETF because there's no money on, it's just paper. There's like one piece of gold, and they sell a license to 100,000 people and there's only one piece of gold. You need the physical actual delivered to your house or your storage department, or a gold IRA in Delaware, or the other total of four legal locations you can hold gold inside an IRA. So the question is going to be, how much of your 7.5 million, which is likely in an IRA, do you want to roll over to a gold IRA? So got to have at least 25,000 minimum, or it's not worth the $250 annual fee. But basically, you need to get gold, because guess what? If we had 7.5 million here. When we get over here, you're only going to have, let's do it percentage wise. So 3 million, this number, $3,001,592.60, divided by the 14,753,635 is 20%. 20%. You lost 20%. Okay? So you lost 20% of your net worth because you did nothing. Because you did nothing. You can sit there, do nothing, watch the next video when cats are fishing or whatever you're into, and you can just lose 20%. They love it. And this is why the government prints the money. It's almost like economic jihad, some people call it. An attack on our country that no one's aware of. Okay, so losing 20% is not okay with me because I want you to definitely maintain your net worth, but I'd like to actually see you grow. So how much of this 7.5 million do you not want to lose 20% of your net worth on? That's the question, okay? I would say all of it, but you probably don't want to convert everything to gold. You probably want to do, we would say, up to 30%. You could do it all. You could do half. It's up to you, but I would say at least 10% to 30% to maintain your buying power. And then, maintaining accounts that are volatility buffers, because basically what's happened, if you look at the money printing, it was like this since like 1913, all the way to like 1980, and then it started going straight up. So we know what goes straight up must come straight down. So I shouldn't use the gold color because gold never goes down. Gold never goes down. I mean, it's market manipulated, and that's a whole nother conversation. But basically, the Fed printing went like this, then it went straight like that. And this was Obama, there was Bush, and then it was Obama, and it's Trump. They're all guilty. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. They're just printing it out of the oblivion. I mean, no one's done away with the Federal Reserve System, and that's what needs to happen. So basically, the IRA, getting a gold IRA is a pretty good solution, and your 7.5 million has now become 3 million less. So 14 minus 3, 14, 7, 53, 6, 35. Subtract the 3,001,592 and 60 cent loss, and your 7.5 million, which should have grown at 9% to 17 million, you'll be at, well, I guess you're at 14. So we did do this, but you should have had 3 million. So here you go, 14.7. You still got 14.7. It's not like you're needing for anything, but depending on the charities that you're supporting, that's $3 million that could have done a lot of charity work, philanthropical, teaching, education, feeding the hungry, whatever it is that you've been called to do. So obviously you want to be a good steward of your money, and getting gold is a really good protection for a portion of it. Okay, so that is the true inflation, and talking about your savings growth rate, and then the compounding rate. I guess we hit that too. Okay, you can only be rich in 3 things. All right, let's do that. So since this is, I gotta get a bigger ledge. Since you can only be rich in 3 things, well, there we go. Since you can be rich in 3 things, let's talk about what you can be rich in. And if you're a young person, this is pretty awesome. You can be rich in time, time to start saving and compound. The amount you put, so it's time, the amount you save each interval, or the rate of return, which is kind of my job. So, so the 3 things you can be rich in are time, savings amount, and let's see, rate of return. And this would be like a 25-year-old till age 65, they have 40 years. Savings rate, you want at least 9%, right? And then rate of return, same thing. Well, I'm sorry, savings amount here would be the amount you put back, and we covered that yesterday. So savings amount would be, are you maxing out everything that you're allowed to put away, right? All your tax deductions. That's how I would speak to that. Are you getting your $19,500 into a 401k every year? Are you doing the catch up of the extra $5 or $6 grand if you're over 50? Are you packing in $6,500 in your IRA too to get your $26,000 plus your catch up? And then are you doing that for your wife's account or your spouse if he or she doesn't work? You should be, pay them an income for whatever small business as a sole proprietor. Pay them $19,500, create a solo K, put it all away. Pay them another $6,500 for all they do, taking care of the kids or whatever they do, all these things they do, and then put that away. And you want to maximize your tax deductions. So time is we'll call this years. Years to save and compound. And then we have savings rate, and that is your internal rate of return. And then, I'm sorry, I keep getting this out of order. This is your savings amount. So I think I would probably put rate second, since obviously it keeps coming to mind. So rate is your internal rate of return. We'll say that's like 9%. And then the amount. And you want to maximize your deductions. So, and again, this would be $19,500 in a 401k every year for him and her. So $19,500, and then you got IRA, $6,500, and then you got your catch up. I don't know, I think that's $5 grand if you're over 50. So, this is 26 plus 5. So this is 31,000 for her, 31,000 for him. So you're talking 62,000 a year. Everyone can write off. I'll stay on this side. 62,000 a year. If you're not writing off 62,000 a year, you're missing it. Now, a lot of times I hear well, I can't save that much. Awesome. It's a great segue to the next conversation. If you can't save this much, don't be stuck where you are. Start asking the Lord, will you please open up a door for jobs and better jobs, multiple streams of incomes, land, inventions, things like that. And God will open the door to you, and you just have to press into it. You have to be looking for it. You have to lift up your eyes to the heavens, because where does your hope come from? Okay? So if you can't save 62,000, just make more money so you can save 62,000. Because if you're not doing this, I'm not speaking this over that you won't have anything when you get there. The Lord's going to bless you, but you got to be a good steward of what He gives you, so you can try to make double this, and so you can at least have 62 to live on and more. Now you might want to shoot for triple. I need to make 180,000 so I can save a third into my retirement, and then I can live well, and I can buy some rental properties. Because you don't want just stocks, you don't want just gold, you don't want just real estate, you don't want just Bitcoin. And there's a lot of cryptocurrencies, and people are all trading all the different ones. But guess what? The ocean that raises all tides is Bitcoin. So I did that in 2017. If you're buying a lot of cryptocurrencies, just go back to basics, just buy the Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum that they're talking about. But if Bitcoin crashes, Ethereum just crashes. So it's all based on Bitcoin. You'll get that eventually. But anyways, you can be rich in 3 things We're going to make this one orange. And that's time, rate of return, and the amount that you save. So you want to maximize your deductions, and that's 401k, IRA, and the catch-up. That's just every man, woman, and child alive. And you can pay your 3-year-old for modeling and give them a 6,500 plus, 6,500 plus 19,500. You can pay your kid 26,000 if you have a bunch of money and write it off to advertising expense, and then take that money and put it away. So if you need to get creative, come talk to me. It's, you just need to use business deductions and smart planning, and then we can use that money to plan for their college. Because if you're a parent, you should be thinking about college already, because you only have so many years to save, okay? And they say you can only save for your kids' college or your retirement, but you can't do both. Let's see what we can do about that, okay? And then that's just basic. Now, we have some more aggressive stuff we talked about in the last video for business owners. If you make more money, 200, 300, 400, 500,000, we can put away, I think it's 350,000 for some advanced planning. We can do simple IRAs. We can do 412Is, 412Es, some of that kind of stuff. So if you need larger tax deductions, just don't pay tax until you've talked to me. But don't come to me on April 15th. I need you to call me today, because we need to get to work. There's a lot of planning, and then we have to get information gathering, and then have a plan put together for you, then present it. And then if you like it, then we have to go get everything in, and then there's processing, which is taking weeks with COVID. So let's get started yesterday, okay? Please call, get an appointment. All right, so we've talked about true inflation, your savings rate, compounding rate, rich in 3 things, and now we're going to talk about compliance. So when you come in to talk about this kind of stuff, what compliance wants to make sure that I check my boxes on is I've talked to you about your time horizon, your risk tolerance, and your emergency fund. So if you're 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, or 75, and yes, I meet a lot of 80-year-olds and a lot of 85-year-olds, and my grandfather is 105. So I'm going to be here for a while if you need someone to handle the stuff for you. Yes, it's my mom's dad. So, depending on where you are, you have a different time horizon. The 25-year-old, if we say everybody retires at 65, which has now been changed to 67 for full Social Security benefits, my generation has to work till 67 for we might not have Social Security benefits. But the 25-year-old to 65, he's got a 40-year time horizon. All that means is how long till you're going to retire. And then if we look at the 35-year-old to 65, he's got 30 years. The 45-year-old's got 20 years. And then the 55-year-old, he's only got 10 years. Now, this is the guy I need to talk to. The girl, the guy. If you know anyone that's 55 and they're coming, or even 45 and they started working early and they're about to take the early pension, please have them come talk to me before they sign any retirement papers. I've talked to so many people that had no idea that once they signed it, all their money goes to the company, they'll manage it forever, could lose it, and you have no say. All you get is a little check the rest of your life. And ooh, it sounds good. But I can get all that money into your own account with your own social, probably with a bonus of 5%. You got 500,000, I'll probably get you $30,000 instantly and let that grow. Then I'll wrap it in some guaranteed pension riders. But I'll shop the market to see who's going to pay you out of every A-rated company, who's going to pay you, every pension company. Will anybody pay you an extra $1,000 a year that's A-rated? Yeah, we're going to take them. So that's what I do. Please have anybody you know that's 55. Don't let them sign any papers, because so many people, it's one and done. You don't get to go back. So that's what time horizon is. Risk tolerance. Risk tolerance. Basically, this is talking about, if the stock market were to go up, if the stock market were to lose a third, would you be scared senseless, or would you see that as a good time to buy, right? And then if it did it a second time, how would you react? Would you see it as an opportunity or so here we go, stock market, it's going up, straight up now, and this is 100% of your money, and this is 0, and so it has just crashed, and you've lost 30%. At this moment in time, how are you feeling? Your 7.5 million just became $5 million, right? Here's 70%, and we're gonna lose another 30. In the second example, okay? So basically this, what they wanna know here is if the stock market lost 30%, are you cool with that? Do you see that as, oh, it's a buying opportunity, let's get more? Or are you out? Okay, and then if it dropped another 30%, how are you reacting? Are you like, oh, it's a great buying opportunity? Are you like, ah? So if you're then what you have to do is get conservative investments. You are not an aggressive investor. If you can't handle a 30% or possibly a 60% drop and not freak out and cash out of all your stuff when it's down, I mean, there is taxed harvesting. That's a strategy. We tax out at this moment, capture the loss for 10 seconds, then we buy back in. And then, so we've got a loss on the books to use at tax time. It's a little advanced planning, but then we're going to ride it back up. And that's when I was in the stock market. At 2008, when everybody lost 30%, and I could get them guaranteed investments that only go up and not go down with the pension riders on them, with bonuses, I'm like, I'm out. This is total hogwash. But I can still set up 401ks. I can get you set up with mutual funds. We can do auto save for you, all that stuff. So anyways, we got time horizon, risk tolerance. We've discussed this. So basically, if this freaks you out, you want to get investments that are conservative. If you saw that drop and that drop as a good thing, then you are aggressive portfolio. And then if you saw this, I'm cool with this, but this is not okay, then you would be what's called a moderate investor, okay? And there's moderate aggressive and there's moderate conservative. There are halfway marks. There's technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 different ways you can be not allocated, but you can be chosen or called, in your portfolio. So most people that are young, some of them are aggressive. I actually see young people that are conservative. When I ask them if the market dropped 30%, would you see it as a buying opportunity? They're like, is what I call it. And so that'll freak you out. So you don't want any of that. You might be conservative. Now, when you get on your timeline, when you get to 55 and 65, you might be full on aggressive at 25 and 35 and 45, just rocking out. But you get to 55, and I've seen it happen in 2008. If you have let's say you only have $100,000. If you lose 30% of your $100,000, you're down to 70 grand. That's not going to buy much when you go to get your pension, only pays you 5% for life. So, that's going to pay you $3,500 a year. You need $3,500 a month, right? So you're going to need 70K times 12 of those, one for each month. So 70,000 plus another 140, 700 plus 140. So you need 840K. You need 840K to have 3,500 a month at 65. This is the magic number. So, being aggressive is great, but when you come into you calling it, if you play euchre, you're in the barn. So if you get to 55, you're in the barn. It's about the end of the making money game, or earning with your blood, sweat, and tears. You're about to have your pot of money make money. And hopefully that's been compounding and growing the whole time. But you get here, you're going to move down from aggressive to moderate. And then you might move down to conservative. Most people at 65, they're a little cocky. I like them at 75. Most of my trust reviews were 75 to 85-year-olds for a whole decade. They know they're on a fixed income. They know they're not going to go work an extra 40 at the Ford plant. So, when you're 65, you kind of haven't gotten the memo that you're about to be on a fixed income. But between 65 and 70, you're living on a fixed income for a couple years. It gets real quite quickly. So right in here, you're going to understand that, hey, I don't even know if I want to be moderate. I want guarantees. What can you guarantee me for the rest of my life? And that's when you come talk to me about guaranteed pensions, some compounding rates that double your assets in your hypothetical pension rider every 10 years. So that completes this section on compliance. So I'll need to get answers about, are you aggressive, moderate, conservative? What's your time horizon? Oh, no, it doesn't. Let's talk about emergency reserve. So if you're living off your portfolio over here and you forgot to change you're at our annual meeting, you're still full on aggressive and the market crashes 30 and maybe another 30%. Normally it's only 130. But if you're living on your dividends and you lost 30%, you're going to have to dip into the emergency fund. Or if the roof goes out, the hot water heater, you need a new car, engine blows, kid gets in a car wreck, you need an emergency fund. So let's talk about emergency fund, okay? So, what's your emergency fund? That should probably be typically, depending on whether you're aggressive, moderate, conservative, you can have 3 months, 12 months, 6 months, 24 months. One of my friends, he keeps $25,000 in his business account, $25,000 in his personal account. But he doesn't have any kids in the house. So, it's up to you. So let's say, we're going to take a couple incomes. Let's just shoot for the $300,000 earner. We're going to go with the $200,000 earner. We'll go with the 120 and then the 60. And we'll call this 6 months reserves, 12, and 24. If you're going to be that guy, you're just going to do the whole 24. Okay. So, or girl. So, and a lot of women the guy doesn't have a clue about finances. They didn't teach anybody in school. So if you know someone that doesn't have a parent that understands money, or a parent that does understand money that didn't teach their son or daughter, please just send them to these videos. These are pretty good educational videos. I'm covering the basics, okay? So 300K, if you divide that by 12, this is how much emergency fund should I have, okay? So pretty simple, just take your income, whatever it is. This guy's 300,000 divided by 12 months, 25,000 times 6. So he's gonna wanna have 150K back for his bills. Let's see, 25 times 12 is easy. Okay, so then that's obviously 300K and 600K, 200, 400, 120, 240, 60, 120. But then, 6 months is just half. So 100K, 60K, and 30K. Okay, so it's not that hard. Easy in your head math. So if these are your incomes, this is what you want to have saved back for an emergency fund. Very conservative, 24 months. This is this is probably not being a good steward of your money. But if you have a private business, and they go through COVID, man, you might need 24 months. I would say have at least 6 months, and hopefully you'll keep earning money. That we need to see, usually for compliance, I need to see at least 3 months to 6 months. And then companies will take your investment because they know you have some liquidity, okay? So Time horizon, risk tolerance, emergency reserve. We've discussed all those today. Okay, save or don't save. So if you're watching this at this point and you're like, why should I save? I think you should be here now. Do you save or don't you save? Are you saving enough? Are you making enough? So I think we covered saving enough. I think you understand what's enough to save. And if you're like, I can't save enough, it's probably because you're not making enough, or it's you're making it all and you're all blowing it. So you really might want to consider taking a look in the mirror and be like, hey, this isn't going to continue forever. I need to save back some of this or all of this and live on a small amount so I have a nest egg. Then you can retire early and just do whatever you want. So the whole goal in life is to do what God created you to do, your purpose and your destiny. Yeah, you're going to probably need some money for that, and you can live hand to foot and trust and walk by faith. That's, of course, he's going to do that until you get that. But once you've got that, then you're into the next section of, can I live by faith, obey his laws and his statutes, walk by faith, and be a good steward of money, right? So that's what you want to do. This phone. Okay, so your goal, I'm just talking about your goal monetarily now. This is not the spiritual stuff. Your goal for assets is, some people have their target there. Some people have their target there. Some people have their target there. What are the targets? I'm glad you asked. So, what are the targets? And this is the conversation. What are your targets? What's important about money to you? What's important about money to your spouse? Do you know how many, male or female, doesn't matter, but when one spouse handles all the money in a couple, and I meet these 75, 85-year-olds and the other person's left, they don't know what to do. They'll have $100,000. The reason they have $100,000 in a CD making 0.5% is because they don't know what to do. They don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to make a mistake. It's pretty much where it is. So, and that's because he or she, the other person, handled all the money and didn't teach the other person. So what I'm trying to do is, I know you're the person in your relationship that handles all the money. That's why you've watched this video this far. But it's really important to get the other spouse on board with you. Because when you're left, like the best example, the best solution for when one person predeceases the other, I saw a lady who handled all the money, did all the books. What she did is she had a notebook and she had all the bills and she told him what to do on every page for like the next, like as far as the notebook would go out. It was pretty sweet. Sweet of her. And when he gets to the end of the notebook, hopefully by then he's learned what to do, but he would just, every month he would check the boxes that I pay the electric bill and then take it from the checking account, transfer from the savings, all the basics that you take for granted. You got to tell people that or teach someone that. And you got to help them become a good steward of money, because if you predecease them, get promoted to heaven first, they're not going to know what to do. Okay? So, all right, assets. So what are your targets, right? Are you just saying, oh, I want to hit age 65 and retire? Or are you saying I'm shooting for college for the kids? Or are you thinking about some other stuff? That could be philanthropy. It could be a living trust. You could leave a dynasty trust for 1,000 years that makes a difference. And this is the dream I want you to have. I want you to have this dream, okay? We're gonna take care of that, check. We're gonna find a way to take care of that, check. For you, it might be one or the other, unless you can learn to make more money or have the Lord bless you with an idea. But you're gonna have to shoot for this or this, because most people can't do both unless they get another opportunity that allows them to tap into collective consciousness, or what I would call God, get an idea, invent it, release it, and get fundraising, start a business, okay? You don't have to stay where you are the rest of your life. But some people's target's only their retirement. Some people or their kids' college. This is probably before here. And and then this might be, whatever your dream is. I want you to dream, okay? Dream a little, because you weren't meant to just work a job. You were meant to do vast exploits. You're more than a conqueror. You're the Ark of the Covenant with legs. You are the mystery hidden from angels for thousands of eons, that God would create someone that could contain the God of the universe living in them, the hope of glory. And God, Christ in you. Christ means, it's not a dude's last name. It's not Jesus Christ. Christ means the Savior of the world. He came, he died on the cross. His blood was shed as the holy sacrifice for all your sins, all my sins. He paid your sin bill, right? And I don't want to do any videos that don't have this ledger in it. Interesting that a ledger is a cross, because when Jesus died on the cross, your sin bill over here, he paid. He paid with Jesus, right? His blood, his holy blood, was the only sacrifice that could pay for your sin. All of them. So, all this stuff doesn't matter if you spend eternity in hell, right? My number one concern is your soul, your body, and your spirit. Your spirit's returning to God. He's taking that back. It's on, Rush Limbaugh said, talent on loan from God, right? But your soul, it goes to hell or it goes back to heaven with your spirit. I want the second. So above everything I talked about, if you're not saved, if you haven't said, hey, Jesus, I didn't know that you paid my sin bill. I didn't know that I had to go to hell because I was born into sin, unrighteousness. If you just want to talk about it, let's talk about it. But this is your opportunity right now. If you want to ask Jesus into your heart, just say, Jesus, come into my heart. I want you to be my Savior. I received a free gift. I believe and I repent of my sins. Come into my heart and live inside me. That's all that matters, really. This stuff will work itself out, okay? This money stuff, but make sure you're saved before you get done with this video. Hit pause right now, call me, and we'll talk about it anytime. I'll drop everything for a soul. It's my number one value, okay? So, okay, what are you shooting for? 65, kids college, or a dream, philanthropy? You want to build a college, start a church, you want to drill oil wells in Africa, water wells. You want to create a living trust. We have estate planning attorneys on hand. We have tax attorneys on hand we can get you referred to. So everybody needs an irrevocable, you probably want to, I don't know, you need to talk to an attorney. I don't give tax advice or estate planning advice, but we do have estate planning solutions division. So a revocable living trust allows you to take all of your assets and you can put it inside the castle. So if this is a castle, you can put your house in there, and then you can put your all your assets in there, retitle them into the name of the trust. That puts them in there. Attest. Well, yeah, someone will have to attest. You will have to attest for all the sins of your life and this moment when you were offered salvation and you did or did not receive it. So please receive it. Take this moment, because the dust that I just shook off, that'll be a witness against you at the white throne judgment. Not that I want that to happen, but anytime you're offered and you don't receive, that's recorded forever in eternity. So make sure you rewind, listen to that again if you didn't receive Jesus, okay? All right, but anyways, your revocable living trust, you can put your house in there. You're gonna put your checking account in there. How do I do that? You just retitle it to the John Doe and Mary Doe Revocable Living Trust. That was my job with my little notary stamp. I go out to your house, check all your accounts, and find out if anything was or was not in the accounts. Oh, we got a savings account out here. It's not retitled into the name of the trust. That's going to probate. That could freeze up. That could pull your entire estate into probate because you screwed that up. Don't screw it up. So your checking, your savings goes in, your checking goes in, your brokerage account goes in. Now life insurance and your annuities, those don't go in because they already have probate avoidance built into them and they have a death benefit built into them. Okay, but all your other assets, your rental property 1, your rental property 2, you got a couple hotels, and then usually every time this gets to a value of $1 million trust, you create another one or you can have some entity structuring. If you're that advanced, we can do offshore structuring, Cayman Island structuring, all kinds of interesting stuff. So if you're that advanced, please catch me offline. And then if you have a business and you love a particular charity like Habitat for Humanity, whatever, Red Cross, we can take the 40% inside your credit card machine at your business. We can allocate that to pay the charity of your choice, your church, your charity, whatever. I'll just refer you to a certain group, and they'll get that fixed. And they basically have a nonprofit arm, Meridian Foundation, and what they do is help you through this other arm to lower your rate, pay less, which is nice for your business, but then the 40% referral fee, which is just going to a rich bank, that goes directly to Habitat for Humanity or your church, as long as they're a 501c3 in good standing with the U.S. government. So, with the state of whatever they're in. So that's another 40% of if your total fees are 10 grand a month at your business, you're paying no one and nothing's benefit from it. What if 40% or $4,000 a month could go to the charity of your choice, whatever that charity is? If you're doing about $1 million a year, they're going to see about $20,000, I'm told. So ask me about that, the credit card donation thing. Just ask me about that, I'll get it to you. I think we've covered enough for today. I hope it wasn't like drinking from a fire hose, but that's what's nice about YouTube. You can rewind and watch it again. You can pause, take notes anytime you want, and then call me and let's get an appointment. We can do a Zoom. I do physical meetings, I'm not scared, but we can do a physical meeting. If you're scared of this COVID stuff, just pray Psalms 91 over yourself. That promises to protect you, and if you live by faith, you're good. So a lot of people don't believe that, and that's why they're living in fear. But God didn't give you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Okay? I'll leave you with that. God bless you guys.